Welcome back to Midnight Horror Tales. If you're from Quezon City, you've probably passed Kamia's Road without even noticing. But there's one place most people refuse to look at, the old, crumbling Manor Hotel. Some say it's cursed, others say it's haunted. But the truth is so much worse, because on August 18, 2001, at exactly 4 a.m., the Manor Hotel became a nightmare. And what happened that morning still haunts the city to this day. The fire. Inside the hotel were more than 200 guests. Most of them had come for a Christian gathering. They thought they were safe. But when the fire broke out, there were no alarms, no sprinklers, and the fire exits locked shut. Panic erupted. People ran down smoke-filled hallways, slamming on doors, screaming for help. But the doors wouldn't budge. Some tried to reach the balconies, but the balconies had been sealed with iron bars to keep burglars out. Instead, they kept the guests in. By dawn, the fire was over, but the screams never stopped. 74 people were dead. Most didn't burn. They suffocated, gasping in the dark, trapped in a hotel that was never meant to let them escape. You'd think the story ended there, but people who live near Kamia's Road say otherwise. Neighbors claim they still hear the cries of trapped guests at night. Tricycle drivers avoid the spot. Some swear that if you park too close at 4 a.m., you'll hear pounding on the windows, like fists slamming against glass. One driver told a story. He said he closed his eyes to rest. When he opened them, there were passengers already in his tricycle, faces burned, clothes torn, and in voices hoarse and broken. They whispered only one thing: "Take us to a church." The hotel was shut down, but the building still stands, rotting, like a scar on Quezon City's face. At night, the silence is heavier there than anywhere else. People say if you stay too long, you'll hear alarms that were never installed. You'll hear prayers rising through the smoke. And if you're unlucky, you might see hands clawing from the blackened windows, begging you to open a door that never opens. It's an urban legend, one born of tragedy and steel bars, of locked fire exits, and a building that should have saved but wouldn't. Let me tell you, stories like these don't come from nothing. Behind every legend are real lives. And in the case of the Manor, the tragedy is almost unbelievable. The year is 2001. The place is a hotel called the Manor along Kamia's Road in Quezon City, a place where you'd least expect horror to strike. It was past midnight when guests started hearing screams. People were running, some were crying. There was the sound of shattering glass and pounding on doors, and then a voice cut through the chaos. Fire, 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 fire. It was a scene straight out of a nightmare, but it was real. And what happened next would turn a hotel into a tomb. As the fire spread, people desperately searched for an exit, but the main door was blocked by thick, black smoke. Guests poured out onto the balconies, but many had no luck escaping. Trapped on all sides, they desperately pounded on their window, hoping for a miracle that never came. Some jumped, trying to reach a lower floor, but the distance was too great. Others stayed put, huddling in the corners, waiting for help that never came. When firefighters arrived, they were met with a horrifying sight. Thick black smoke billowing from the roof, flames dancing on the upper floors, and below, a growing pile of bodies. It was a race against time, and as the fire raged on, the death toll rose. In the end, 74 people lost their lives. Among them, 62 women, 10 men, and 2 children. Many had burns, but most died of smoke inhalation, their faces contorted in silent screams. The fire had stolen their voices, leaving behind a haunting echo of tragedy. But how did this happen? How could a hotel turn into a death trap? What went wrong? As it turns out, a lot. The building had no fire exits, no alarms, no emergency lighting. The fire escapes were locked, the elevators were out of order, and the stairways were filled with debris. It was a disaster waiting to happen, but amidst the tragedy, questions linger. Why was a building allowed to operate without safety features? Who will answer for the lives lost? The tragedy shook the nation. It raised questions about safety standards, about accountability. But amid the chaos, amidst the finger-pointing, something got lost. The human element. Behind each name on the list was a face, a life, a story. There was Maria, a young mother. Her dreams burned away with her. Jose, the businessman whose life was cut short. And Carla, a student whose future lay in ashes. The fire didn't just take their lives, it took their hopes, their ambitions, their very essence. Today, the manor stands abandoned, a hollow shell of its former self. It's a reminder of a tragedy that shouldn't have happened, a monument to lives cut short. And yet, amidst the ruin, there's a story that refuses to die. People still talk about it in hushed tones, a story of survival, of loss, of a tragedy that continues to haunt the city's collective memory. Click the subscribe button to follow for more episodes.